was expecting to see Coach Roman support the team that day, but he didn't show up.
And we looked around and said, where's Kevin? Where's Coach Roman? Why is he not here?
September 1st was the last time I physically laid eyes on Kevin. We were talking about the upcoming Labor Day weekend, getting together, hanging out by the pool. And as the coming days went, just reaching out and not hearing back. It was just strange. It was just weird, right? I thought, oh gosh, let me just get over here and check on them. We're country boys, so we get up and go check on people we don't hear from them after a while. And I drove across town, and I remember it was a sunny day. There was not a cloud in the sky that day. And as soon as I turned down Kevin's street, everything became gloomy. Like just this dark cloud came out of somewhere. And, I got to his home and I didn't see his truck there. And I see the burglar door closed, but the interior door open. And gosh, as I got out of that car, it was, I can't even describe it. It was like just this overwhelming odor came out of nowhere.
The United States and Russia reached a ceasefire agreement over the conflict in Syria on Saturday morning.
And I get to the door. I, of course, can't open the burglar door because it locks with a key. And I see all the lights on in the home. I see his bedroom light on. I hear his bedroom TV on. I hear the air conditioning unit on. And this odor is coming from everywhere. That was kind of when the light bulb came on.
Houston Fire and Medical, what is the location of your emergency?
Farwell Drive.
Okay, what is your emergency there?
I have a friend that I haven't heard from for a week, so this is his home. I came by, and there's a foul odor coming out of the house.
All right, sir, we're dispatching emergency units to that location. Help is on the way.
Thank you.
As I'm waiting for Houston Fire Department to arrive, something in my heart said, prepare yourself because he's gonna be in there.
We grew up in Tallulah, Louisiana. Kevin was a very giving person, and giving really runs in our family. That was set as a tone through our father. My dad is a pastor, and I really feel like him being grounded in the Word of God and giving, Kevin represented that.
He developed a mindset to try to help people in whatever way and manner he could. If he could take the shirt off his back and give to you, he would do it.
So Kevin had a stutter. I know that Kevin had difficulty with other kids bullying him. I believe some of the negative attention that he experienced in his youth, it helped him to really build his competitive nature.
He absolutely loved this game. Coaching at the high school level, that was his pathway to go to the college level.
I remember when Kevin got hired at Clear Lake High School, he was so excited to, come from Louisiana, be in Houston, and it was just a new chapter and new opportunities.
On September 10, 2016, we got a dispatch to a call for a welfare check. When the Houston Fire Department arrived, they came in with breaching tools and they made forced entry. The living room appeared to be like in a disarray. Items of food laying around, cups, drinks. Inside the bedroom, we observed what appeared to be a black male laying on the bed. The body was in an advanced state of decomposition. In my gut, I had assumed that this individual was murdered.
The officer came over and asked me, could I show him of Kevin? And I did. And the officer confirmed that although some time had, that it was Kevin. As soon as the police officer confirmed that it was him in there, everything kind of set in. Like, you know, you lost your brother and you really don't have an answer. Or a reason why someone would take the life of this type of person.
The house itself was in disarray, but it does not suggest any sign of struggle. There was no sign of forced entry.
The victim's wallet was there and it was in plain view. There was electronics in the house, televisions, things like that, that normally you would expect a burglar to take. The crime scene techs collected several pieces of evidence, including .45 caliber shell casings. They also collected several potential sources of DNA from someone that may have been staying with Mr. Roman. Things like toothbrushes, drinking glasses, cigarette butts that were found at the scene. And there was women's clothing that was found in a bag.
The crime scene unit also recovered a multicolored tie that was tied to the bed frame. The tie was tied in such a manner that it possibly could have been used as a restraint to hold up hands.
Because of the large police presence at the house, neighbors, of course, will come out.
I saw at least 50 people suddenly appear on this scene that I had never put eyes on in my life. It was very uncomfortable being around so many strangers in that moment and just hearing the whispers and the crowds of people.
I actually was at his house. I remember asking the detective, hey, where's his Jeep at? And he says, I don't know, it's not here.
Kevin's vehicle was missing, as were his car keys. He had a very unique, large keychain, and there was also no cell phone that was recovered.
It appeared he had been dead about a week. He was shot 11 times with a .45 caliber weapon and killed very violently. That indicated rage. That's likely that the victim and the killer knew each other and that the killer had a reason, in their mind at least, to be extremely angry with the victim.
It had to be someone he was close to, someone that he did not know, but he thought he knew, got a little too close and unfortunately took his life.
At Clear Lake Christian School today are mourning the loss of beloved football coach Kevin Roman. HPD responded to a welfare check at Roman's Sunnyside home on Saturday. They discovered the 39-year-old coach shot to death.
We've actually had a lot of kids in counseling today.
There's not a single coach at this school, including myself, that is more loved than Kevin Roman. Clear Lake Christian Academy is a school where everybody's family. Everybody basically lived in the neighborhood. Football was king and still is king. When Kevin got here, man, it was like a burst of energy, right? We did not have a junior high school football team. Kevin went in the classrooms, in the gym classes. He just took anybody that was the age and could play.
Coach Roman came up to me. He was like, dang, you want to play football? He was a coach, but it felt like he was one of the players. He had like charisma, you know? Players loved him. Everyone loved him.
And you would have thought he was in the NFL, the way that he walked the sideline. It was amazing how much energy he brought to a football field.
Every athlete wants their dad in the stands, you know, cheering for him as they're running the ball into the end zone. Not having that for myself, Coach really filled that role for me. I still hear him saying quality over quantity in my head. Quality over quantity. It's still such a life principle that I even live by now.
Football is huge in Texas, and that may have contributed in some way to the case being somewhat more high profile. But I've found that any case where you have a victim that is loved by a lot of people, that it's going to raise the profile. And Kevin Roman was loved by a lot of people.
I remember I was coming to pick up my kids, and Kevin was working out front as the crossing guard, and he came up to my window as I pulled up, and he says, "Hey, Coach, they didn't renew my contract."
When I left here as a coach, they replaced me with a guy who wanted to bring in his own people, and Kevin ended up being just a casualty of war. Kevin was upset because he loved this school. He loved the people here. He loved the kids here.
Kevin found another opportunity actually a few months before his passing with the KIPP Academy. But Kevin was still affected by losing the job with Clear Lake.
It was a small thought in the back of, I think, all of our minds that maybe his death had to do something involving, you know, his coaching. You know, it wouldn't be totally off the books that somebody would be so upset at something he did that to make that kind of decision.
The moment that I found out that Kevin passed away, I couldn't hear sound. It was like silent. And just the emotion started rushing in that moment. I knew that I had to go tell my father.
She said, "Kevin is dead." And that's all I could hear. I jumped up and started running. I had tears running down. It hurt me. I had seen him a week before his death. Me and him were sitting in his car, and he told me, "Pop, I love you."
I called my cousin to kind of get an update of what was happening at that time, and she was just talking about us police around and a lot of people, and they were trying to talk to the landlord, which, you know, there was some suspicion around just some of the things he was saying, and just in terms of how quickly he wanted to remove my brother's stuff.
We spoke to the homeowner that actually owned the house that Kevin Roman rented. We discovered that Kevin was having some financial difficulties. He had recently gotten a new job and I think had yet to be paid and was behind on his rent.
The victim's landlord seemed anxious to be able to turn around and re-rent the property to a new tenant. The investigators found his behavior a little suspicious, but ultimately they didn't think that he had a strong enough motive. The landlord also provided information that he had seen several different females come and go from staying with Kevin.
Almost immediately after, when we found out, we went to the house to leave flowers and stuff at the door, flowers, candles. And when we did, the landlord had already tossed a lot of Coach Roman's stuff on the curb. And some of that included, we saw like ladies' clothing. So that was kind of one that like piqued our, well, if a lady was living here, how was he missing for however many days? I remember there being some rumor of a possible girlfriend or something because people knew that someone was living with him. And we were like, it's this girl.
One of the things that you do when you're dealing with a whodunit murder is you're almost looking at it like somebody who sells life insurance. If I was looking at Kevin Roman and he's still alive, what areas would make me not want to sell him a life insurance policy, right? He's not involved in drugs, he's not involved in gangs, doesn't have any criminal background at all. His one area of risk that popped up was his relationships with women. We were getting consistent information that he would see several different women at one time.
Just grab a seat right here. Appreciate you coming down.
Not a problem.
The Houston Police Department called me in, so I went down to Travis to meet with the detectives.
I mean, everybody speaks really highly of him.
Yes, sir.
Which kind of brings us to why we're here. I mean, you know, and I want to kind of establish your relationship with him because I think that you're my best bet to help me out at this,
yes, sir,
where I'm at right now.
One interesting thing that he mentioned was this female that Kevin met in his neighborhood while she was walking home.
So we stopped and had a conversation with this particular person. And from what he told me, this young lady came by his home, either that night or the next night, but he never mentioned a name.
So he goes on to describe this young lady, saying she's attractive, she has a nice body and these kind of things. Hey guy, you're a grown man, do what you want to do. And I kind of left it at that.
So you got the impression of somebody that maybe he hooked up with? Or
Yeah, just somebody that
he met on the street?
He saw and he was attracted to her, picked her up, and
this was in August?
This was early August. The only thing I have, in addition to that, Kevin was at my apartment Thursday or Friday before Labor Day.
We were hanging out by the pool, having some drinks, that kind of thing.
And he kept getting text messages to his phone. And so his phone keeps going off, and I'm like, man, what's going on with your phone? And he starts to look at it, and he starts to get frustrated by it, because it's like text.
When he finally answered, and I just hear this person yelling at him, like, I could hear them. The phone wasn't even on speakerphone. I could just hear this person yelling. And he's like, I'm with my frat brother, I'll call you back later. And the person goes on and like, why are you always with your frat brother? Why are y'all always together, kind of thing? And eventually he hangs up the phone. And I'm like, bro, who was that? And he's like, it's just this girl over here near my home. She's crazy, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, hey, if she's crazy, stop talking to her.
I didn't know Kevin to have anyone living with him, but as I talked to the neighbors and just talked to the people in the community, they kept referencing some woman that was driving this Jeep in and out the house.
Mm-hmm.
I have no clue who that person was.
The killer didn't seem to have had their own transportation because they had a need to take Kevin's vehicle. They didn't take other items, they took the car. The investigators were interviewing associates and friends of the victim to learn about his lifestyle, and a friend of his named Chad Castro came forward.
How long you known Kevin for?
I known him for like a year, almost 2 years.
During his interview, he revealed to the investigators that Kevin had been involved with a female named Faradia Jerome.
Fila came over there looking for Kevin,
Were you at Kevin's house?
Uh-huh. It was just me over there. She came over there and talked about where Kevin at, where Kevin at, where Kevin at. He owed me some money. He owed me some money.
According to Chad, Faradia Jerome had made some angry posts on Facebook about Kevin Roman.
She made a post talk about, what would you do about somebody that owe you money? Like, how would you handle it? And then she even called him out on it. Okay. And then a couple of weeks later, he did.
He had noted that the post appeared to have been taken down after Kevin was killed.
Did he hook up with her? Were they together? I know you said she lent her money, or lent him money, but...
I know she stayed there at one point that he said.
So she stayed there at one point at the house?
Yeah, stayed there at one point at the house.
The detectives were able to get information that she was in jail at the time that the murder would have been committed, and they were able to confirm that. So they excluded her as a suspect based on the fact that she was incarcerated at the time.
To follow up on. The case ultimately goes cold.
When the investigation started to stall, it was as if, is it even a priority? You know, what's going on?
I remember a lot of us saying, okay, we're gonna put his picture on our profile on Facebook, you know, just as until he gets justice. Not a lot of us thought we were gonna have his picture on our profile for 3 years.
Digital forensic technology is always in a state of progressing and refining and getting better. And so I submitted the broken phone to see if our personnel would be able to crack it.
The techs were able to download the data, and we were able to actually get his text communications.
And in a case like this, where you have a murder that occurs, but then the body is not found for a significant amount of time afterward, it's very telling when someone ceases communication with the victim on the date of the murder. We identified only one phone number that fit that pattern, and that phone number ended up being identified as that of LaQuinta Johnson. Research on her quickly showed that she lived across the street from where Kevin's vehicle was found. One interesting thing about Kevin was that for certain females, he would identify their contacts by the way that he had met them, and sometimes certain physical characteristics that they had. The contact that Kevin had in his phone for LaQuinta Johnson was actually Q Big Booty, she was walking home. And that was interesting to me because it further linked to what Mr. Davis had said before about this female that was walking home and Kevin had picked her up. I was able to establish that they had met only about 23 days before Kevin was killed.
Investigators were able to determine that Kevin Roman was probably killed on September 4th because that's when his cell phone activity ceased. LaQuinta had been in contact with her brother, Richard Gaines, on the morning that we believe that Kevin had been killed.
Richard Gaines was a documented gang member. He had a history of weapons offenses. And I found out that Richard had been arrested on September the 12th, just a week after the murder, and he was in possession of a .45 caliber handgun. And Kevin was killed with a .45 caliber weapon. And LaQuinta had a prior conviction for aggravated assault, where she was accused by an ex-boyfriend of hers of shooting at him. Richard Gaines was pulled over. He had consented to a search of the car. And during the search of the vehicle, the officers found a .45 caliber handgun. Richard was booked at the Brazoria County Jail, and his sister, LaQuinta Johnson, was brought to homicide.
All right.
Kevin died on the morning of September 4th, early morning hours. He got shot on the 4th, and, the text messages indicate that you guys were together on the 3rd. Did you stay at his house?
No, sir. Hold up. You think I killed Kevin?
I don't know. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying
No,
that.
hold up. No, sir.
She lied to us, downplayed her relationship with Kevin, tried to make it seem like it was casual. And nobody's going to believe that it was just a coincidence that your brother showed up with the gun to kill this guy that you'd just been dating. And that you were at his house.
I was at his house the night before, sir, and I left.
She had basically accused me of lying during the interview, saying that her brother was not really arrested. So you not believing me that Richard's in jail?
Look,
you just say
whatever you're
things
gonna
that I
do with
say
me,
is a lie.
Sergio, I'm done talking.
In that case, LaQuinta, you're going to be charged with the murder of Kevin Roman.
Okay.
I brought her a picture of her brother's booking photo. Just wanted to show you one thing before you go, so you don't think I'm a liar. See the file date? And then I left the room. She started crying, and I opened the door.
My brother ain't had nothing to do with it. He just please let him go. He didn't have anything
Talk to me.
to do with it.
I believe you.
Whatever you feel I did, I would take that. But just leave my brother out of this because he did not have nothing to do with it. He never gave me no gun. None of that.
Quinta. Man, that just sounds like you're falling on your sword for your brother.
Not falling on no sword for my brother.
I wouldn't blame you. I got sisters. I'd fall on my sword for them too.
Not falling on no sword for my brother.
Okay.
He don't deserve to be in jail for something he had nothing to do with.
Okay.
That he didn't know nothing about. So after the fact.
Okay. She believed that they were probably both going down for the homicide, and she didn't think it was right that he would go down for it. She told us that the .45 caliber handgun was her gun.
I brought it with me. Like I always do. I always carry it with me.
What was different that night that this went down?
I knew my mama was gonna die. Just wanted somebody else to feel pain.
Why did you want Kevin to be the one to feel pain?
So heartless. That man wasn't nothing but sweet to me. I don't know. I stood over him and shot him in the head 7 or 8 times.
All in the head?
I don't know where it went. Closed my eyes at times too.
She shot him till the magazine was empty, is what she told us. Did you leave right afterwards? Or did you stay at the house for a while?
No, I stayed there.
How long?
10, 15 minutes.
What were you doing?
Making sure he was dead.
The text messages found in Kevin's phone paint a pretty clear picture of the relationship between LaQuinta and Kevin. And around September, the relationship got a little, I would say, hostile, where LaQuinta would be upset, or you're not doing enough for me, you're not paying for this, you're not paying for that.
And then you saw just the sudden drop-off, the total cease of communications on the day that we know Kevin was killed. Is there anything that you would like me to tell Kevin's family on your behalf?
That I'm sorry. He did not deserve that. And I thought, like, because he was seeing people, I was seeing people, like, I really liked him. It was different.
We actually made a video of her telling Richard that she had come clean and told everything, and that he needed to protect himself and tell the truth.
Whatever you have to do, you tell them, you testify against me, you didn't know nothing about it, you didn't have anything to do with it, I did everything myself. I'm sorry, brother, for even putting you in this. I'm sorry. That's all you want to say? I love you.
And I played that for him when I went to interview him at the jail.
You said the pink one, right?
Yeah.
After we finished talking to her, I asked her if there was anyone she wanted to call, and she said that she did, so I allowed her to make phone calls from the interview room.
I love you, bitch.
Bitch, what is wrong? Where you at?
I'm gone, bitch.
Come on, girl.
But I told them everything, Duke. Because when I told them what they want to know. Because I would not let Richard go down for something he didn't have nothing to do with.
Girl.
Oh my God, the way they swooped up on me at my grandma's house, I knew it then, though. I knew it.
She reiterated her confession several times during those phone calls.
What you mean?
I fucked up, though. I fucked up. I'm the one. I knew it, though. And on the day my mama died, 3 years, like, coma motherfucker. It's real. But when they told me they had Richard Duke and they showed me the picture and text my phone, and I would not let Richard go down for no fucking murder. I'm going to jail for murder. I gotta pay for what I did, like.
Ultimately, we were able to determine that that firearm that was found in Richard's possession was the gun that was used to kill Kevin Roman. Richard's never been charged in relation to the murder because he wasn't involved. He just ended up with the gun after the fact. Ultimately, she agreed to plead guilty to the murder charge in exchange for a 45-year sentence.
I told them the truth. I told them I liked him more than he liked me. And I went through his phone and I think the same woman said. I emptied the clip on him. When he didn't want to just make it official with us, I lost my mind. The truth. And it shall set you free.
I said, well, thanks be to God. It's over. But I don't have no hatred for her. I feel sorry for her.
What I miss most about my brother is the ability to talk to him, laugh with him, for him to encourage me in my walk as a single person in God. And I don't have that right now. So it was hard for me when he passed away.
She took away the school's soul, the heart and soul of the school.
If I could leave any final words about Kevin Roman, I would say this: to take his energy, take his compassion for people, and let that be a part of you. That is the greatest way to honor him. Kevin loved anybody regardless of color, gender, relationship status, pronouns, whatever it was, Kevin loved people. He had that kind of impact where you just wanted to be a better person around him.
His legacy is his love for the students of the school. And before it's all said and done, somehow, some way, I'm gonna have that football field named the Roman Field. Don't look like much, but it's where Kevin loved to be.